All right, guys, I'm excited because today we have Irina Maltseva, who has worked with some incredible portfolio of websites, Hunter.io, Artisan.co, Aura, and she recently launched her own agency called Scene. She has worked with so many incredible startups, doing massive amounts of traffic for them. Irina, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here today with us.
Thanks a lot for inviting me to this.
Tell us more about your new company that you've launched.
It's Scene. It's an AI SEO agency, and we are primarily working with B2B SaaS and helping them to get seen on LLMs and on Google.
Let's dive straight into the hottest topic right now in the industry. What, according to you, are the 3 top ranking factors for a B2B startup or B2B company?
That's an interesting question because we can definitely count more than 3, but I would say the most important one for me, because for different experts, it will be probably different set of topics. Everyone has their own experience. For me, it's relevancy. I would say, from what I'm seeing, you need to be very specific. If someone is looking for a specific solution for this specific problem using this language, I don't know, like I am looking for a solution for my cybersecurity company. I'm in like this niche, blah, blah, blah. This is my problem. You actually need to create a content piece targeting that specific problem, question, like prompt. And the more relevant it is, the higher chances you have to get like listed, cited, etc. The second is the authority itself, because I see like more authoritative websites performing better than obviously like those that don't have authority. If you just launched and you are on a new domain, you are someone no one knows anything about, it will be much difficult for you to compete. And the third, I would say it's what kind of content, like information gain you are bringing, because if you are just digesting what is everyone else is saying, so there is no specific reason to cite you. But if you are bringing something new, something unique to the table, some like good in-depth research, some customer data, like some like your observation, you definitely have more chances to get visibility. I think Ahrefs is quite a good example on that, because they switched from being keyword focused to producing actually this research. The most amazing research I see in the industry now is from Ahrefs. And there's quite a lot of companies doing it. Profound is doing also a great job. I like on specifically on AI search. And I think this is kind of a direction most of the companies need to pursue.
When you say the authority of the site, do you think it is authority of the site is important for LLM visibility, or is it the overall consensus of the site that is more important?
I think these things are very connected, because if you have, let's say, 2 mentions and 2 mentions are saying the same thing, it is a consensus. But if you have 1,000 mentions that are saying the same thing, it's also a consensus, but like much powerful in terms of authority. So it brings you more authority points. Even now, so there is a lot of discussions and conversations about, for example, like link building. Is it still important or not? Or should we all start to do like brand mentions only, like listicle mentions? I see actually link building is a very important thing, because it is given a signal to Google specifically, and Google is quite a huge platform. It's bringing much more visibility, traffic impressions than LLMs now, like from what I see in the SaaS industry. And it just helps your website like to stand out across the rest. I think this is still important.
So when a brand comes to you, when a B2B brand comes to you and you are to start the campaign for them, what's your starting point?
So it's always the same, not the strategy, but the starting point. I want to know what their customers are talking about. What are the problems they are facing? So the first access I'm asking is not Google Search Console, is not Google Analytics. It's actually access to their GON conversations or any other tool they're using to record customer conversations. And the more I will be able to get access to, ideally, if they have like an MCP connection. This is so much easier for us to extract this data if we need, or we extracting it through the API. And it's a starting point because it shows before building content, before building any new pages on a website, if it's like a completely new SaaS, we know which direction we should go based on what customers are asking. Because the old school SEO is that we'll do keyword research. So you are a startup and a sales tech, for example. So we will find all the keywords related to sales and we'll target them. No, it's not working like that right now because search is becoming more specific and customers want to see answers to their problems, not to general problems. So it's always like this. We start with customer pain points and then we do the rest.
That's a very interesting point. I've not had many people discuss or share that that's their starting point. What about analyzing or doing sentiment analysis and seeing what conversations are happening for a brand across Reddit, across other social media platforms, Trustpilot, G2, etc.?
Many geo tools, Profound, Crunch, Peak, everything, they provide quite a good information on that. That can be actionable for us. So, for example, I don't know, we are seeing that our visibility is good, but in general, people are not saying good things about the product.
Yeah.
And it shows exactly what is kind of the common things that people are not happy about. Often it's the main call. It's not for SEO in GEO, but mostly for the product team to fix something in the product. I would say we cannot, if we as GEO SEO experts, we start changing the narrative in the web. Yes, we can write reviews. We can include the information you wanted, the listicles. But if the product is not fixed itself, people will start saying the same. So first is we are using the sentiment analysis to understand what people are complaining about. And then we are fixing the product. And then we are fixing the narrative. Then we know everything is okay with the product.
Since you're working in the B2B space, which is quite competitive, you're working with very big companies who are already in competitive spaces. There, the other brands have higher authority as well, especially when you're working with a new startup and they are offering multiple features or multiple services. Let's say there's an accounting software, and accounting itself is a very, very big niche, very competitive niche. How do you plan which subcategories you will pick first? Or do you go straight and start targeting the best accounting software category? Or do you go after subcategories? And if you do go through the subcategory route, how do you select which subcategory you will pick or target first?
I would say the best approach is to start slowly, not slowly, but gradually. Because for both Google and LLMs, you need to provide enough evidence first on your website, enough information on your website, even before you start working with third-party mentions. An example I can share with you, one of the clients we are working with, it's a big enterprise and they have quite a lot of different products for different audiences. So they built a new product, a new AI assistant, something that LLMs and both Google don't know yet about. They built a product page. They came to us saying, hey guys, let's do third-party mentions for this product, because when they're searching on ChatGPT, what is this product name, it's showing something completely what we don't want to see. So we need to change that. We need to share this narrative across the web. And so LLMs understand what our product is about. I said them, we won't be doing third-party mention for them. Even though it was some good additional money for us to have, I rejected because they didn't have enough information about this product on their website. If you don't start with the low-hanging fruit, something which is super easy to manage and to control, which is your own website, you should not be going the direction of building third-party mentions. And yeah, basically we started with the help center, because I don't remember who's researched this, but I saw it recently, last month, that help center is in top 3 most cited website sources. It goes first homepage, and then I think second to third help center. So you need to actually explain people how to use a product, what it is about. Then you need to create a specific cluster of articles on a blog targeting this specific topic. If you have just a product page, and then you're LLMs don't know what we are, but you didn't say what you are in the first place on your blog. So it is normally when we have many, many different We just make sure we create enough content on a website, enough explanation on how it is helpful and for who before we start working on other product or on other strategies as third party mentions. So gradually, how you decide which one to start with, obviously the ones that brings more potential revenue to the company, and you start with those.
And you would pick those categories that brings the brand more revenue, or categories that have less difficulty, let's say keyword difficulty, or that has less competition?
I would say it's always about a business impact. They can have 20, 30 products. As an SEO expert, as GEO expert, for me, probably it's like easier to go like something like super, super easy. But will it bring enough revenue to the company? Sometimes it's even better to start with something like more difficult, because it takes time to achieve this goal. Because like if you start with something easy, yeah, you build it, but you lost time on investing it into something that takes more time to execute. It's a very good example. Aura, a cybersecurity and identity theft protection company itself, we had the keyword identity theft protection. Competition is insane. And quite a while, we started like with zero log, anything. We were afraid of touching this keyword itself with a product page because we didn't have back then this authority. Then we built it, and it still took us almost 2 years to rank number 1 with this keyword, because we were competing with like giants, those who were
Norton, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So many McAfee, Norton, so many big brands.
So it took us almost 2 years to get there. And I would say better decision probably was to start a bit earlier. But we decided to work on authority, which I think also probably was the worst decision. So sometimes it's difficult to say which is the best decision, but definitely don't leave the most difficult page to be like the very last one of your priorities.
Okay. We've had guests who've shared that you break down your target keyword. So for example, in your case, best theft protection, right? Something on those like best identity theft protection. And then you break it down by ICP. So best identity theft protection for ICP1, for ICP2, for ICP3, for different categories. And then you break it down by regions. Best software for USA region, for EU region. Do you take that route as well?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It really depends. So for Aura, for this specific example, these keywords, identity theft protection and best identity theft protection, have completely different SERPs. Identity theft protection is like mostly a product SERP, and there is like one approach. Best identity is listicles. In that specific case, where it took us almost 2 years to build an authority, we ranked for identity theft protection, and people like normally they did, like when we're speaking about traditional Google, they don't search, I am located here and I'm looking for identity theft protection for me as, I don't know, finance specialist. No. They just like typing and that's pretty much it. And then like when they do like the search, we already built like quite a lot of mentions and backlinks for this like kind of short term, which helped us to automatically become visible for different variations. So we didn't need to do like this a lot of different angles. But there is software which is like more like granular, and if you see there is like a volume for the specific keyword where people actually looking something for the niche. I would say like more sensitive niches like like medical or like legal, finance. Probably if it's like a medical niche, people want the software which is like HIPAA compliant, etc. There it makes sense for them like to type in like a niche, and this is where we create a content that is like for a specific niche, depending like on the customer behavior of a specific product.
And if you rank for a keyword like identity theft protection, if you're ranking well for it, will that translate into better rankings in listicle style queries like best identity theft protection software?
I would say the things are separate, because if we just like look at the SERPs, there are sometimes intersections for like the similar keywords. In this case, they were completely different. Are we influencing as listicles in general by ranking number 1 for this specific sales term? I would say yes, because if it's not a clearly paid affiliate website and they are evaluating the best solutions, like the writer or researcher or whoever will be reviewing, they will probably include the tools that are ranking number 1, number 2, number 3. So in this way, it is influencing. But does it help us to rank for the best, for our own best article? I would say also yes, because we've built an authority in this space. And if you are ranking for such a difficult product keyword, so indirectly it influences the other pages as well. Unfortunately, there is no way to measure it. It's just like something that we are guessing as people working in SEO and GEO.
When you are starting a new campaign and you're going through all the competitors for that brand, what are some things that you look into when doing competitor research and analysis?
So the main thing here is not to copy what competitors are doing, but actually to understand what effort we need to make to outrank them. We evaluate just for SEO, the main metrics of the website to see their like backlink profile, how many contents they build, how many keywords are they already appearing for like organically. These are the main things. For GEO, we are just also checking what websites citing them, how many brand mention citation they have, and in general, what is their visibility for the set of prompts that we are tracking. That helps to the effort in terms of time and probably the budget we need to invest, and we are taking it from here.
Do you get any clients that ask you how much time it will take for us to rank for this particular query or term? And what do you tell them?
I don't know. So I actually recently posted about it because, there's like two different type of SEO and GEO experts. There is ones who are posting on LinkedIn, I will rank you number one on ChatGPT in 3 months. And me who is saying, we will do our best to rank you as high as possible. We don't know the exact playbook. We will be running a lot of tests and experiments. We will be learning them down. And of course, we will try to do it as fast as possible. But there is so many different factors that you cannot predict. For example, your competitor who is hiring like next month 10 different agencies who will be doing like Reddit and also like brand mentions and like content and etc. And you have one person, how you can predict the pace, or how do you know if Google wants completely switch from like mix of this like traditional and AI review serves to a completely AI mode tomorrow? You don't know. So a lot of different factors that we cannot control. And I would say the best like SEO GEO experts I talk to, none of them can like do forecasts, but all of them know how to build a good strategy, not only based on the things that are working, but also based on what didn't work. And I think it's like needs a little bit of explanation because unlike PPC, SEO and GEO works differently. Unfortunately, GEO takes even more time than SEO, and it just worth explanation. And probably there's like a lot of nice like research showing that what's happening in the industry. And yeah, I'm always sharing this with my clients. A lot of like smart people who can understand that. But if you never faced the SEO and GEO reality, you probably want some metrics and forecasts and like this. And it is a difficult question, but quite a popular one.
Right. I got asked the same question today in a call. So I thought, look, let me ask Irina how she goes about it. When you work on these client campaigns now, do you do full stack service? Meaning, do you take care of the SEO and GEO as well? Or do you also get clients where you have to work with their current SEO team and you bring in your GEO expertise and you manage the GEO side of things?
Normally we do like the full stack, but we are flexible depending on what kind of team they have. So there are some teams who have pretty good and pretty skilled content writers, and we don't bring our content expertise there because we know they can produce better content. I mean, if it's like something very technical and we are not expert there, yes, we can integrate, we can teach, we can do the content, we can make sure it's SEO and GEO optimized. But we also work a lot with the companies who have who start from zero, like a new website, no blog, anything. So here we do full stack. I normally don't like advertise separately SEO and GEO because I believe in search everywhere optimization. Now, to the real visibility, you need to invest into multiple channels, and they work very well together. However, if let's say the teams have specific people, like good professionals that can do their job, sometimes with our guidance, we are flexible with that. So we are working mostly as integration and an extension of their team, not as like a separate team, I would say.
In your research process, do you look into the fan out queries, the reasoning that's coming out, the brands that are showing up, the categories that are showing up in the results? Do you do that research as well before planning your campaign?
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the things that we have actually built ourselves internally. So we have plenty of internal tools that help us to automate the repetitive research stuff. And for the content itself, we have this tool that helps us to identify the query fanouts, and then we integrate those first into the content briefs, just to make sure we are answering every single question, and that LLM don't go to look in other sources for this information, to make sure that we are the only source of information that they can rely on. I would say those who are not doing query fanouts now, they don't do real GEO.
Yeah. And the information that you extract from query fanouts for some different things we see, right? They look for pricing, they look for case studies, awards, reviews, everything. Apart from publishing that information on the client's main website, do you also publish it on third-party sites?
Yes, we do it. It's part of the GEO strategy. Obviously, first we start with the website, but then at some point, there is a time to start investing into third-party sources. And if we see that LLMs keep citing a specific website for a specific query fanout that they are covering, but they keep citing someone else, unless it is a competitor who we obviously won't be reaching out to. We will reach out to this website and ask how they can add us, how can they make us mention there. It is a part of the strategy.
Do you think listicles are still as effective as they were maybe 6 months ago?
What kind of listicles you're speaking about? If you're speaking about listicles on our own website, they are less effective. If you're speaking about listicles on third-party sources, they are more effective. So it depends, but my favorite phrase, it depends. Basically, if you are overly promotional, which is 95% of the listicles are, it's definitely going down, the visibility. But I see quite a lot of examples, and actually this is what we are trying to do, of the listicles where you are trying to be real, authentic, not saying we are good, but competitors are bad. Don't buy competitors, buy us, because the rest is not comparable. This is not the way you do listicles. The way listicles should be built, if it's best tools for whatever, you are saying we are representing this company. First of all, you're transparent. Then you are saying we think that our tool is worth considering as a number one because according to what our customers are telling on YouTube, on Reddit, here and there. So it's not your words. It's what other people saying about you, on the industry website, etc. And you are giving this evidence because what LLMs are relying on, it's just an evidence, an factual information. But if you're saying we are the best and that's it, of course your listicles won't be visible. You need to justify why you're the best, not saying that just because our founder thinks our tool is the best.
And are there any specific structures or features that you have noticed that seem to be working really well, whether in listicles or other kind of articles that you publish on third-party sites like tables, pointers, TLDRs, any pointers or any guidelines that you think to be working really well when working on listicles or other kind of articles?
Just all the common best practices that you implement. If you make your content readable, scannable, it's good. You don't need FAQs in every single page. You don't need TLDRs in every single page. You don't need tables. If it's needed, you add it. I see some companies obviously trying to hack the GEO by adding many questions like FAQs, which was already covered in the article. FAQs are something that is, okay, on top of the article, I have these questions. Sometimes I see experts abusing it. We should not be doing it. We should be writing first for people. And if you feel this kind of content format is good for people, it will be good for machine. Of course, you need to follow the hierarchy, the paragraphs. We call it chunking, but in general, just make it readable.
Yeah. Have you come across any black hat hacks or techniques that people or other brands were utilizing and you were surprised that this was, kind of working?
The technique that I hate the most now, let's call them scammers, scamming agencies and professionals. are using, they create a lot of programmatic AI slop that causes this spike in traffic. And then at some point it all goes down.
Okay.
But in their case studies, they show me the first part. It's basically you produce a lot of content and like there is like some signs of that is matching the keywords, that it's matching the prompt, whatever people are asking. But at the end, it's just non-research slop done for machines, not for humans. And when they're real humans land there, they start reading it. It's not readable. They bounce. It causes like a lot of like bad signals, and then it all goes down. This is the tactic I hate the most because I see a lot of companies still believe it, that if you do like thousands like of programmatic pages, LLMs will be citing you. No, temporarily you will have the spike, but the consequences sometimes can be really bad, and it will be very difficult to unban your website.
And let's say you were working on a client, and before starting the campaign for them, you did your client analysis, sentiment analysis, and you saw that there's some sort of negative sentiments for that client or negative reviews for that client. How do you tackle that issue?
An interesting observation I had with my client last week, we were talking about it. They had a bad sentiment, but when we reviewed the sources of this sentiment, they figure out it's coming from competitors. The best idea we were able to come up with is that to ask client's legal team to reach out to the competitor's legal team and to remove the things that is not true. Of course, if you have good products and people like your customers won't be complaining about you, it will be your competitors who will be writing some bad stuff about you. And in this case, our job as SEO GEO professionals to find this, to flag it, to show it to the client, and then I think the legal team will do their job.
But in that case, you can only reach out to competitors who have published the reviews about you on their own site, or do you reach out to all the other third-party publications as well?
In my experience lately, I didn't see that much of a bad like information on other review websites. I think competitors can do it potentially, but I didn't see them doing it with my clients. Normally what they do is just write these listicles in the format, we are good, they are bad. And they see this huge list of cons and like 1, 2 pros, and that's it. So it's not objective. So we ask for just change the things. These things, they are not true. But yes, it can happen. It can be third-party sources. So it makes sense reaching out to them. I also know from my experience, an affiliate website once was writing quite bad things about the client because they wanted them to reach out to them and pay them money to write good things. It was like that, but it's more not a common situation as exclusion.
And what about other kinds of articles that you publish on third-party sites besides listicles? What are some other content types? Are there comparison articles, review articles that you publish on third-party sites?
I have 3 formats work most often is listicle. First of all, the review versus article. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes it can be some in-depth guides, but I see that LLMs mostly citing the listicle format, or if you are researching specific information about a product that you already choose, they are citing also their own website and also third-party sources. So it's a mix, but mostly like this kind of bottom of the funnel content, which directly influences the decision of the potential buyer.
Yeah. What are some mistakes do you see people are still doing when they're running the outreach campaigns for these listicles and review articles, and to be included in existing listicles? We get those emails all day long. And how do you tackle that? How do you approach your outreach? Because it's only increasing more and more, and there's so much spam, and then a lot of people complain, oh, my outreach is not working. Let's publish listicles. How do you tackle and handle that?
I would say there is 3 main problems. First, companies don't know who to outreach. The best thing is that you pull from your GEO tool the list of citations that are influencing the visibility for the set of prompts that you are tracking, and then you're reaching out to them. So they just reach out to whatever they see on Google, which sometimes doesn't really help. The second problem is the outreach itself. I'm running an affiliate website myself, and a lot of people reaching out to me. I receive lots of emails like, hey, can you please include us, blah, blah, blah. They don't even research my name. They just like, hey, dear madam, like, one email for everyone. I stumble upon your article, and they don't even include your article. So please do personalization at the basic level. Sometimes just like And then even the article itself will be a good sign. So 80% of the emails I'm receiving is just one email for everyone. It's not working like that. And the third thing is be prepared to pay, because people think they will outreach someone, especially websites whose main model is sponsored model. And they're like, hey, we'll give you a backlink from our DR5 website in exchange for getting mentioned in the articles that gets like 20,000 of impressions. You should be prepared to pay if they are asking you to pay. Sometimes it is the only way to get featured there. Of course, it's an affiliate website. It's not like a website where they actually accept payments. They are like SaaS websites where you can negotiate, yes, because it's not their business model. You can offer like some kind of cross exchange. They will publish something on your website, or you offer like some other website. It's always about negotiations. I would say if you send like 100 emails expecting to get featured in 100 listicles for just sending an outreach email, sorry, you will get like probably nothing, probably one mention out of 100. You either need to negotiate and give something in return, or if you're reaching out to websites that have clearly this sponsored model, you need to pay. There is like only two ways to get featured there.
What about social media management and Reddit management? Do you look into that yourself for your clients, or do you just advise that, or how do you just plan that part of strategy? Because we see a lot of social media citations as well. Obviously, there's so much of Reddit citations as well in ChatGPT and other LLMs, but it's so difficult these days to keep up with Reddit conversations, to mention about your brand. How do you manage that?
We don't do Reddit spam. It's our policy. We don't offer Reddit services per se, so we are not going into Reddit and not spamming it. But if clients want to do it, and many want, we help them to identify the Reddit threads that actually have an impact on their visibility. We are pulling on a monthly basis this information for them. We are helping them to push the right narrative. But in ideal world, and this is what we are promoting, is that companies should be answering on Reddit themselves. It should be ideally like profile of a founder or like someone like a decision maker in a company. We are helping to build this profile for them, but it should be someone real with real experience. I've been working with some Reddit agencies, and what they were producing, it was not helpful. Like, and Reddit community is very smart. They can see this AI slop. They can see someone is just like building like Reddit mentions. They then block you, like remove you. The companies are paying money for the 100 mentions, and in 1 month, 90 of them get removed. I didn't see a single good example of Reddit agencies executing that correctly, because like there is one person like normally working there who is running many different accounts. This person cannot be expert in everything. They just produce lots of AI generated comments, sometimes very, very poorly generated comments. So you can easily see that. So the best thing is to do it in-house. One of not many things I actually recommend doing it in-house, but also have a guidance of someone who understands which Reddit threads are actually impacting your business.
And going back to your example that you gave of a client who had just launched a new service, but you refused to publish listicles or brand mentions for them. In that kind of scenario, do you publish any other kind of content on third-party sites or third-party? Let's say any client who's new, you are just starting their GEO campaign. At what point do you start publishing some content on third-party sites or third-party platforms for them?
When they're ready for it, and when there is enough content on their own website. I would say more or less the roadmap looks like that. We work a lot with startups. A lot of our clients are YC alumni who come with just like one pager, and there's still like quite a lot of product pages and assets to build before we start doing so. So it's more or less in certain months when we have invested enough time into that. Or like often when someone comes already with some assets and they come like for SEO, like GEO services, I don't know why, but it happens quite often. They want first to do still optimization for inside of the website, and only sometimes to invest into third party. In my opinion, if there is like already some authority and enough content on the website, you can start doing it from day one. But still, I see it happening like as a second priority for many companies, not the first one.
Is there anything else that we missed that people should cover in the GEO campaign? Is there anything else that you would like to share that people should cover when executing or planning their GEO campaign?
I would say more of their own research instead of recycling what everyone else said, just building something authentic. And even though sometimes you don't see some nice metrics on Ahrefs like traffic potential, etc., but you have an understanding that this topic will be growing or is already growing. If you start early, you can be the first one, everyone else will be citing later. So start investing early into the emerging topics and also start doing more of something no one else is doing instead of like recycling your competitors' content.
Irina, this was really helpful. You shared so many important points that was an eye-opening for me as well. What's the best place for our listeners to follow you to stay updated with all that you're sharing?
I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so you can follow me there. And if you want, you can also reach out me via email. Probably I will be even faster answering via email.
Perfect. Irina, thank you so much for all the knowledge and for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.